Hello everyone, welcome back to more Magic the Gathering. This is fueled mostly by I don't know. You always get like more views than usual on a new series. People are like, what the heck is the deal with this?" And then like in video 2 it like drops off substantially, and by video 3 people are like, "I don't care about this at all." But I only released 2 videos, so like so far the reception is positive. Oh, we didn't get to claim the prize from last time. That's right, the client crashed. I think because of the daylight savings time change. I realized afterward. I was recording this like right when the daylight savings change happened, and when we finished the draft, or when we finished the run, oh, it didn't even show me the animation. Was like exactly when the clock rolled over to from 1:59 to 1 o'clock. So I suspect that it just like broke because they're not able to handle daylight savings transitions. Like, ugh, how embarrassing for them. Anyway, so there were some positive reactions, and also like we had some games. It was clear, I think, that like my deck was not constructed that well, which is not surprising. I'm not a good player, and I'm not able to make good decks. I feel like the mistakes I made in games, like definitely there were some that cost me a lot, but I also think much of the problem was just like having a deck that didn't work quite so well. But anyway, I was happy with like the game where I ground that guy down at 4 health. I finally stabilized at 4 health. That was pretty cool. So let's try to do it a bit better here. I have everything muted for except the mic, which I accidentally muted last time for the draft. So you guys can play your own music over this if you want. There's not any interesting sounds. I'll turn it back on for game audio once we get going. Here's a green-black Hydra, which is like it's a counter thing. So what's the deal? Yeah, it starts with 3/1/1 counters, and when anything dies that has counters, you put counters on this Hydra, and then when the Hydra dies, you like make another copy of it. This card is insane, right? It's 3 mana 3/3 at least, which is pretty good. But it has like also when it dies, it makes another 3/3, and plus if you have anything else that puts counters on, it's like nuts. So let me just. So by the way, this takes like almost an hour, I suspect, watching me draft the deck. So if you want to skip to the skip the draft, go ahead. So I'm gonna look up Zendikar draft archetypes. Let's say, because like, what does green black do in this? Are they a counters thing? Or is this just like one counters card that like doesn't really fit with the rest of green black? Green black is all about 1/1 counters. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of surprised they don't mention this card in their list of like cool cards for this deck. Yeah, that's green. Right. Black, green, archetypes. I don't know. Is it good? Who knows? But the card seems like way better than any of the other options, and it's a lot of Magic sets have like kind of signpost cards, which are like multicolor cards that hint to you, that are like, this is what the theme of this color pair is. And I suspect this is intended to be such a signpost, and like we're definitely gonna pick it. Nothing else looks that cool. We don't have to go green black. We could do something else if we get a bunch of other good cards, but so far this is a good card, right? Here's okay, what's with this white card? Does not seem very good. Well, okay, it's actually pretty, it is good, but not good enough to make me want to go white, right? It's like decent removal, because white likes to go wide, especially in like white red. So this is pretty good removal for white. This is a good removal card, I think. It's like early game weak removal and kickable like strong removal. And there's a lot of stuff in this format that you need to like delete. Stuff with landfall and so on. We could take Veteran Adventure, which was like a 6-drop, really? Oh, I see. So it's like a party synergy thing. I don't really want that. Okay, I mean, there is a counter card. I don't know if we really want to commit super hard to counters right away instead of taking this, which seems pretty good. Those, I think, are the two reasonable choices, though. I think it's important to go for the removal first. Removal is just like a top priority in a lot of limited formats. This might very well be here when we come back around. If it's not, I don't know. Are there any artifacts lying around? No. If it's not, we'll probably have to take, like... This is a fine card. It's okay. It's like a 1-drop that does something. Sure. Probably better than this, right? Okay. Relic Amulet. So this is that red-blue card. We definitely don't want it. It's an artifact, but it's about red-blue decks. Huh. Making them discard 2 cards is pretty brutal. But they often, like... You have to draw it at the right time for it to be good. Because if you draw it too late, it's like they don't even have 2 cards because they're playing every card they draw. They might have no cards. If you draw it too early, like, it's still good, but they have cards they don't really need for a long time that they're willing to discard. So you want to kind of in the mid-game when they're hanging on to their, like, big threats and big answers. But it still seems, like, playable, I think. Subtle Strike. Okay, I mean, it's a counter spell. That is, say, a spell that creates counters, not a counter spell. And also some removal. This is other removal. I don't think it's as good as the one we got, though. Here's more counters in green. 1/1 counters, specifically. So I think Subtle Strike, Mind Drain, and Gnarled Colony are all sort of reasonable. I think Subtle Strike is probably better. I don't know. It's like, it's a kind of okay combat trick. Not great. It lets you swing 2/2, which is cool. I think I'll go for this just because we're going black-green. But, like, what about this? Like, giving trample to our creatures would be cool, but I think that's kind of like dreaming a little too big. This is just a better tempo thing, more generally useful. Actually, is it? Maybe this is better for tempo, because you can play it whenever you want. Whereas this, you kind of have to wait till there's a good reason. But it's like, it's removal, and it kind of combos with the Hydra. I don't know. This is where, like, a better player than me would definitely know what to pick, and I don't. But I'll try Subtle Strike. Shadow Stinger, yeah. So this is like, it gets Death Touch, and the first guy we played against in the last draft had 2 of these, and they did not work out very well for him. Which is not to say that they're bad, but they weren't good for him. Oh, Dreadworm, right, it's got this landfall thing. This is like a black-white card. This is blue-black, kind of. What the heck is this even? I mean, green has landfall cards. And this might just be like a playable card. But I suspect that just like a 3-mana 1/4, I don't know. That's not that great. What if I went for a flyer? And like, if you can put counters on that, it's pretty cool. 1/1 counters. I mean, a 1/4 with Death Touch is pretty great. But of course it doesn't actually have Death Touch. You have to like work to get it to have Death Touch. Whereas like a 2/1 Flash Flyer, I'll take this. Both of them have this like kind of mill rogue synergy, which doesn't matter to me. But this is, you know, flying can present problems to some decks. I guess so can Death Touch, but right now this isn't Death Touch, it's just a 1/4. Search for a land card. Okay, so it puts it into your hand. Ugh. So it's ramp, but like not really? It like tutors for lands? I don't know, this seems bad. All right, here's a great counter synergy. So we're like committing like a little bit hard to this because we only have like one card that really cares about counters yet. But like the more of them you get, they kind of build up a critical mass. I'll take it. Death Touch as long as you have another rogue. Well, I do have one. And it's a 2-mana 2/2 at worst, which is fine. Is this good? How would I even... I don't know. I don't know how to find out like whether it's good in draft. I don't know the magic internet, right? Want to know the secret to drafting green and Zendikar Rising? I don't know, do I? Not really. The Stomper is one of the top 2 green commons, supposedly. According to this guy. Who knows whether that's correct, but... I mean, it is like... We noticed that several of the games lasted for quite a while, right? Players actually had like 9 mana. Some of them went quick, but like the point is this draft format can go late. And something like this is nice to have in the late game. But like we could also just take another rogue that like is playable early. I don't know. Curving out is important. I'm also like really heavily focused on black so far, not on purpose. There just hasn't been any good green stuff that I've noticed. All right, so we're taking probably one of these vampires, I guess. Spare supplies would be another option, but doesn't seem very good. I mean, I have rogues. This is just like a 2-mana 2/1 that swings some life, which could be cool. Or I can take a 4-mana card that like kind of sucks. I mean, both of these also increase the size of my prospective party in a way, right? I so far just have rogues, so taking either of these is something. We'll take another 2-drop. Oh, cool. Wow. That's, it's a nice counter synergy thing, and it also happens to be a cleric for what that's worth. It's kind of expensive, which is not great, but not terrible. Like, we're going to want some expensive cards. Well, the only one of these I might conceivably want, I think, is this flyer. Yeah, we got back to this pack, and it actually still has the card we wanted. Great. A counter synergy. I don't know. None of these matter. I'm never playing any of those cards. Okay, and I since picked up one other rogue. Is that right? 2. So I think the Shadow Stinger is fine now. Better than the Dreadworm. Dreadworm would be some more late game, I guess. But we don't need that much, I don't think. Alright, that's pack 1. And how long did it take? 15 minutes. Well, that included some intro time. Hello, are there any green and black cards? What is this? A rogue that cares about creatures in your party. Oh, that's a very expensive card. 6 mana, but it's like... It's probably removal a lot of the time. It destroys an enemy card. Here's some life gain synergy, but we don't really have like any lifelink stuff yet. We have this, but it's not much. Here's just like a 2-drop that puts counters on things. That's kind of cool. Nissa Zendikon is kind of cute because you can use it on the dual lands to get them back into your hand after playing them as a land. If you don't need the land anymore, you can turn them into spells. I mean, it doesn't go into your hand. It becomes a 4/4 creature, and then when it dies, you get the card back. So it's like getting triple use out of the card, sort of. Just put 1/1 counters on stuff is cool. You have to have a fair amount of like creatures in your party for it to be worthwhile. At 2, it's probably pretty good, right? At 1, it might even be playable. At 0, it obviously sucks. So if we just have the Hydra, it doesn't work. So I don't know. This seems okay. This seems okay. This could be extremely good, but is also like quite slow. And most of the time, it's probably going to be like 1 or maybe 2 damage. It won't be able to remove anything serious, I suspect. It's not mentioned in this person's draft guide. Yeah, I don't know. I suspect it's not that great. I mean, it's like... It's 6 mana for a 3/2, so the effect needs to be very good. And I suspect a lot of the time the effect will be like kind of meh. Whereas I think Dauntless Survivor is just like a totally fine card. There's another one of those rogue things. Here's like a way to get rid of flying, but like honestly for 3 mana, not worth it. The way this text is written is kind of confusing. Does it destroy either a creature with flying or an artifact or enchantment? Or like in principle an artifact could have flying. It's like not common. Or an enchantment could have flying. Like there are enchantment creatures. But I think that they mean it can destroy any artifact, not just one with flying. But it's like, I don't know. I would want to look that up if I were going to draft that card just to be sure. I think we'll just go with like another rogue. Sure. We have a few cards already that care about rogues. And they work together with each other. And in the worst case, it's a 2/2 for 2. How are my colors so far? A lot more black than green. So this is like still appealing. It does a lot sometimes. Or there's like some big honkin' green stuff that you can play in the late game. I don't have any landfall stuff right now, so returning lands to my hand is not very good. It's just like a 6 mana big card, which can be very useful. But if I were going to do that, I think I'd rather get a 5 mana big card that can gain Indestructible. Like, I think Dreadworm does a lot of stuff sometimes. I'm like, I haven't sideboarded any of my cards except the ones I'm never playing. Probably I'll have to cut some of these eventually. But for now, everything I'm taking seems playable. Interesting. So a 3 mana 3/3, and if you pay 2 extra mana, you can take kicker cards back out of your graveyard and play them again. I don't have that much kicker stuff, right? Yeah, the number of kicker cards I have is 1. And it's a good one. Don't get me wrong. The other consideration is that, like, these other cards... Oh, no, this is fine. I was going to say they all suck, but we'll take another Skulker. Sure. What is this? Okay, here's a dual land that's like... I don't know. Paying 6 mana for this effect is questionable to me. It could be a finisher if you can like bounce the land back into your hand, for example, when your opponent only has 4 life left. But otherwise, it's like pretty bad most of the time. So I'm not that inclined to take this, I think. Blood price. So it's like a Scry 4, but you get to keep 2 of them. Why isn't this described as Scry 4, draw 2? Ah, because then you could bottom deck all 4 of them if you wanted, sure. Now, Might of Marasa, I've like numerous times I've had players use this to kill me. Once in our last draft, but also once like weeks or months ago. I don't know, this is a tough... This is 4 mana for some good tutoring and 2 card draw. I don't really want any of this, I don't think. But like, just having a green combat trick for 3 or 5, I guess is pretty cool. I'll sideboard this. More rogues with Death Touch. Or Blood Beckoning. Return creatures from graveyard to hand. I mean, there's some creatures I'd be happy to play again, but this is pretty conditional. There are a lot of situations where like this just won't do anything you care about. And even when it does care, it's like pretty slow. Whereas like this is just fine. Give me more creatures. Mid-range creatures. Adventure awaits. So yeah, you get a creature from the top 5 cards of your deck, basically. Or this. I mean, these all kind of suck. More of these is probably fine. It's a 5 mana 4/5 is like pretty okay. And I want more green to make my deck a little less lopsided. And it's a big card, or big-ish. I think we just take maybe another Dreadworm? Give me like 4 5-drops? Seems like a bit much, but what else am I going to do? Take this? I don't have enough 1/1 counter synergy. I just have still just the 1 Hydra. This is what really cares about them. I think I'll just take another Dreadworm. It's another way to like get in some more damage. Okay, fine. I'll take Strength of Solidarity. You got me. I could take Utility Knife, I guess, but I won't. Sideboard. This doesn't really matter. And Broken Wings, I might put that in the deck, but I don't think so. I'm going to have to, like, So far, I've gotten 9 cards from each pack that I've thought were playable, and that would leave me with 27, which is like 4 too many. So I'm gonna have to cut things, not add things from my sideboard, most likely. What is this? 6 mana reanimator kind of thing that really cares about you having a party, which I don't plan to have that much of. And also, like, I mean, I have several rogues. I'll have lots of rogues. I do own a warrior and 1 or 2 clerics. Oh, something like 3 clerics actually, but no wizards. So like, I don't know. This could be okay. I guess getting to put Sprigmantle Cleric back onto the battlefield is pretty cool. Or this. I mean, this could do some really powerful stuff, I guess. But it is pretty like late game stuff, so I should look around maybe. I mean, we could take just another Subtle Strike, for example. Another one of these clerics. Wait, did I take any of them? I did, right? Yeah. I think this is just too clunky. I don't know. I have a lot of 2s and 3s already. Do I really need more? I'm probably going to be cutting, like, the Blood Priest I already have. Honestly. Yeah, let's do that now, in fact, so my deck looks a little bit more like what I'm actually planning to play. I'm maybe cutting like a Dreadworm or something. And at that point, this is likely to be... Assuming the game is going slowly enough that I want to play this, this will probably be a 4 mana card, because I'll have like a Cleric and a Rogue out, which would be pretty cool. I don't know, it's probably bad, but I'll take it. So here's this green card. Which can be a land. So that's valuable because I already have like kind of too many cards. So if I can take something that's like half spell, half land, I can fit more like actual good cards into my deck. And everything else here... Oh wait, what's this all about? A 2 mana flyer that you can play as a 6 mana flyer to put counters on it. Okay. I mean, a 3/3 flying lifelink is pretty good. But I am sort of like, wouldn't it be nice to have this card? Because I have a couple things I would like. This is removal, right? It's good removal. And removal is kind of important in this format, as well as it being a land. So I think I'll take it. Put it over here so I remember it's a land. What is this all about? Okay, so you can make stuff... You can force the opponent to block you in a particular way. And it's a wizard. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Or this? Oh, yeah. This is premium removal, right? Especially for stuff that's like relatively cheap but gets landfall to make it go out of control. This is really good, right? Pay 2 mana to remove like a 4/5 or something. Sure. More Shadow Stingers. I mean, it could be playable. More of these. Or this. It's a 3 mana 2/2 that like gives menace to your other creatures. I've got like a lot of Death Touch. Is that really so important? Drafting all these rogues just because they have Death Touch? I don't know, it's probably fine. Relic Vial. This is a Cleric card. I have a few clerics. And I don't really have creatures I'm excited to sacrifice, though. So I just could take another one of these stalkers. I guess I will. What is this? Mind Carver. It's equipment. +1/+0, and if the opponent's been milled enough, it instead gives you 3/1. I don't really have much stuff that's going to mill them except a couple of these stinger things. Where are they? Here. So, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be able to mill them reliably, and this would just be a very bad piece of equipment if I can't do that. More of that big green cleric. Or more of this black counter card. I have no 4-drops, which is a little embarrassing. Except this, maybe. But we're obviously not playing it on 4. Or we could take a Mind Drain, I don't know. What do I need more of? It's a mystery. I mean, it's a 5-mana 4/5. It's like pretty okay. This is very situational and could be reasonably good, but it's not going to be insane even if it is working, I think. Here's another 2-drop that does something, a 3-drop that doesn't really do anything. I mean, it has reach. I don't really have a way to cope with flyers except by removing them, so I'm going to be kind of sad if I run into blue. But maybe I'll just try to kill them. I don't know, none of this seems that great. I do already have Dauntless Survivors. I could just draft another one and figure out what I'm cutting later. I don't think I want anything else from here, and I maybe want this, so... If we were playing best of 3, I might take the reach guy just to sideboard it against, like, blue-black flying rogues or something. Or just blue-white flyers in general. I don't think I want this that badly. We could have another Dreadworm. Okay, here's finally another payoff card for all the 1/1 counter cards we've been taking. You know, making a creature indestructible is fine. It's not like the usual sort of combat trick, because all it does is stop your thing from dying, and like probably if they were blocking away that your thing dies, they've arranged that their thing doesn't die, but sometimes they're willing to trade. But anyway, your thing lives. Or like maybe they were trying to remove it with something. And this stops that. And you get to draw a card as well. I don't know, this is actually pretty hard to... What if they try to remove something else? I don't know. I think this could be a good way to give you like permission to be a bit more aggressive with your creatures that already have counters on them. And you're like, oh well, if they try to block it, if they chump block and like they trade, you can say, aha, I get to keep my thing and I draw a card. You know, could be a thing. It doesn't seem that great. Is Dreadworm good? It looks great to me, but it's 5 mana, and it's not that hard to remove. Sometimes, I don't know. Maybe I'm a Timmy at heart, but I like Dreadworm. I don't know. I think it's just gonna be too hard to activate this. Just give me another Dreadworm. Yeah, this is a 3-drop, so it doesn't even fix my problem of having no 4s. I have like maybe too many 5s, but maybe not. And we have another one of these constrictor guys for 3. Giving my things menace makes them a lot more powerful, I think. I don't need this 5 mana 5/4. Like, I have 5 mana 4/5s that I think are better. I don't gain the life, but this includes like its stuff comes with counters, which is better anyway. So I think I'll just sideboard this. Probably not playing it. Not playing any of these, but let's sideboard that one. Probably not playing this, but I'll just take it. Well, a minute ago I thought this was good enough to take. Oh man, you're really gonna let me choose, huh? I don't think I'll take it. Okay, so we have to cut a few cards here. But only like 4. Or maybe 5 if we want to... Where's my land? Here it is. If I want to think of this as a land, but I don't. I want to think of it as a spell. That only exists, like, to play as a land if I have to. So I think I should just treat this as though it were not a land, and play the full ordinary 17 lands. And I think 9/8 is the right distribution, although I have many, many more black cards. It's not like I have stuff that costs 2 or 3 black where I need to make sure I have a ton of swamps. I just want to make sure I have at least one of each down early enough. Okay, so now, what do we cut here? The strengths of solidarity are like, okay. I mean, 1/1 counters are pretty powerful, right? A 1/1 creature doesn't really do much of anything, but a 3/3 creature is pretty great in a lot of situations. I don't know. I think I just don't want these that badly. Well, okay, but the menace, right? Maybe I'll reconsider that. Yeah, because I got so many of these constrictors that, like, that's the other payoff for 1/1 counters I wasn't thinking about while I was drafting. I think my Shadow Stingers are not very good. Giving them, like, a 1/4 Death Touch is pretty cool. But I have to not attack with something to get it. And the milling doesn't really matter. And it's like 3 mana. I think I'll just get rid of these. I have enough rogues that these guys can probably activate each other. I think. Alright, I have 4 of them. And this one... I guess it is just the 4. I've heard it said that, like, okay, you can only include 4 of a single card in a Magic deck. But 4 is like for your like really key cards. You wish you could run even more of them for consistency, right? And so you might choose to run like 4 of a card and 2 more of something else that's pretty similar to it. And this kind of fits that as like a... It is very similar to that. So if I decided that I want to run just absolutely a ton of these guys to make sure they always have Death Touch, that might be a cool thing to do, is leave these things in. This 2/1 flyer rogue kind of sucks, but it's a flyer? So, I don't know. Honestly, it might be the Dreadworms should go. they don't really seem to fit with anything else in the deck. There's like you're playing it because it's a big thing, but I don't know if I really need those. Like, is Dreadworm any good? How would I even find that out? I can look up. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know where on the internet to look to find out like are cards good in draft. But if I removed like all three of these, I would be kind of light on high-end stuff. Man, it's so hard. I know like you can play with a 44 card deck, but like if you ever do that, people laugh at you. For good reason, because you must have at least 40 cards, and it's sort of like easy to show that unless your deck cares about having a large number of cards specifically, you want the fewest cards possible, because if you have 44 cards, there's always one card that's the worst, right? And if you remove it, then your average card quality goes up. And so in general, like you should be able to identify which cards don't fit in your deck and remove them, and that improves the average quality of your deck. Average card quality is not the only thing you care about, but in draft it's a pretty good indicator, I think. So, I don't know. This thing is just not that great. I don't want to rely on having to get a 2-1 flyer by my opponent, I don't think. There's just too many ways to deal with it. And then maybe I could remove one of each of these. But I really like them both. Give me back the green one. I like those counters. A 4/5 with Menace is pretty cool. And I gotta find 2 more cards to cut. We could take out these guys. You know, if you give them a 1/1 counter somehow, which is sort of difficult, but there are some ways we can do it, then it becomes like a 2/5 Menace Death Touch, which is pretty great. But honestly, anything with a 1/1 counter and Menace is pretty cool. And I think I have enough rogues. Well, no, I removed my flyer rogue. Man, it's just impossible. I can't take out any cards. I could take out a forest, I guess, or a swamp maybe would be better. I'm not running that much heavy stuff, and I am running a fair amount of light stuff. And I have this this like thing in here as a fixer in case I draw too little land. I don't know. That's probably wrong. I'm probably supposed to run 17. It's not like my deck is full of 1-drops. It's full of 2s and 3s. Yeah, put that back. Oh my god. Now I'm going to have like a swamp with different art on it. Are you kidding me? Whatever. And I have to take 2 cards out still. I don't know. I think the Shadow Stingers can go. And I would just have 4 of these guys, but hopefully that's enough. Alright, let's try to get 1 game in with this deck in this episode. Oh, what should we choose as the art for this deck? I guess the Hydra is the right way to go, right? Even though I only have 1 of them. Oh, hang on. Let me. I need to unmute now. I'm gonna remember that. Yeah, there we go. Any minute now, we'll begin playing a game of Magic the Gathering. Oh man, I just heard some beeping. I was like, did I forget my did I is there accidentally still something playing on my desktop? And I realized no, it's my dryer. Alright, what the heck is this? This is not a lot of lands, but we do have this. And it's just like, this would be such a great hand if I had one swamp, because I get this thing, I have these two synergizing with each other. Like, do I mulligan? And give up like several good cards and decrease my hand size just because I don't have a swamp yet? I think I do. This is just not playable if I don't get any swamps. I'll just instantly lose. Well, okay. I mean, now I need a forest, but not for a while. Okay. You know what? Let's just play black. I think. Yeah, I want to get... Well, I could keep this and put a lamp. No, that's silly. Yeah. Okay. This is not a great start. Okay, we got some green. That's nice. It's not a great start, but I think it is better than what we could have had. With that other... Well, I don't know. That other hand also had some color problems. It only had color problems. Everything else about it was great. Is that, enough to actually play it? I don't know. Blue, white, and green. Okay. Are you gonna like flash something in to block me or something wacky like that? No. I mean, I'm a little worried this could be playing into a counterspell. They could have like anti-cognition, I guess. But I can't play in fear. And, if you counter this, you're less likely to counter the Dreadworm, for example. Okay, sack a land, put 2 lands in, sure. Okay, so you're just ramping instead. That's fine. I mean, I wish you wouldn't, but what can you do? Alright, so we're not getting our counters out of this guy, it looks like. But we were able to activate our rogue. Well, okay, am I getting countered here? No. I could play this now, or this turn anyway, to get a little bit of extra damage in. But I think it's better to hang on to it until I can play it at a time when it can't be easily countered. Make sure I can actually get rid of this guy. I don't know. Playing against blue is kind of scary. You never know what they're up to. But I think the counterspells in this format are relatively heavy. Like, you can... If you just keep little... Anti-Cognition, I think, is the smallest one. A 2-mana counter that, if you have... If your opponent has 2 mana, they can, like, decline to be countered. Okay, I guess you can attack me. So if you can just like keep some mana lying around. What is this? Deal damage equal to twice the number of creatures in your party, which is going to be 2. Okay. So this is the kind of thing where it might be nice to actually get some value out of this. If you counter this, oh well. So first, I want to do both. Make that smaller and this bigger. Ooh, what was that? So what was it? Was it kicked? What happened? I wish there was like a log you could look at. Okay, the creature lived, but my thing didn't die. Did you gain life? Did you fight a creature? No. So I think you only got to pick one, right? Yeah. Must have not paid the kicker. I don't think you had enough mana for it, in fact. Alright. So we'll just swing with everything here. Oh, I should not be playing my lands right now, I suspect. I want to save them to activate Dreadworm. Or maybe I should hold my 2/2 as a blocker instead of swinging with it. Yeah, I should probably start doing that next turn. Probably should have last turn as well, but... Oh, I get another one. Nice. So that means I can afford to attack with both with all of this if I want. And now you have to block, right? You must block with your 3/3, one of these, or you die. And then I can play this, and I'm still a little bit defended. It's a little bit scary, but as long as I live through this turn, I probably win. Yeah. Okay, that was a bit of a close one. And I think that'll do it for this first episode. You know, the draft takes up a lot of time. If you skip the draft one, then, well, I guess this was just a short video for you. Why don't you rewind if you want to be entertained a bit longer? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time when we play some more games with this deck.